Hi, I'm Karen Meyer, and I'm the Coordinator for Disability Services here at the Lima campus. And I'm going to answer some questions for you today about the office here.
How do you apply to be part of the campus disability services?
Any student who's had services in the past, so if they have an IEP or a 504 plan from high school and have gotten accommodations, they are eligible to apply. They would make an appointment to meet with me and then bring their documentation. I would look over the documentation and then determine whether they're eligible for those services. At that time, we also would talk about what maybe works best for them. Usually the most common accommodations would be extended time on tests, a separate room for tests, sometimes a note taker, sometimes maybe a reader or a scribe if there's a dyslexia or something like that. So that's, we would go through all of that.
Do you guys provide any personal assistance for the disabled if they would need someone helping them to get to and from class or anything like that, going from class to class or anything like that?
Well, we don't provide that per se. They would probably bring that along. So if a student has cerebral palsy or is in a wheelchair or maybe blind, they might have somebody walk with them to class. But in the case where they would need a personal assistant all the time, they will provide that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how do you guys help aid in the transition from Lima to Columbus if that's something they want to do?
We work very closely with the Office for Disability Services in Columbus, and I will send their documentation down there. Then the student needs to make an appointment with that office because they do things a little differently than we do. As far as testing, they have, over 1,000 students probably registered there, and so they have to have things just a little different than we do. So I would send all their documentation down as soon as I know that they're going, and then they would meet with that office down there.
Let's say, for example, I broke my arm or something and I wasn't able to write with my right hand. Would you guys provide a temporary kind of thing as well? If I would need just a temporary short amount of time assistance?
Yes, we do provide temporary assistance for students who might have something like that. And then as soon as that's, better, that they obviously wouldn't have that anymore. But yeah, we do.
Do you guys have any other questions? Do you guys provide parking passes for students who need handicap parking spots?
We don't. They usually go through the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, so they'd go to the BMV and they'd get that pass there because the doctor has to approve that. Some other, little things I can offer about the office. If a student is blind or if a student is hearing impaired, we would provide for the hearing impaired, we would provide somebody to translate. So we would provide a signer, and that burden the responsibility is on this office for that. As far as blind student, I've had a student before who is blind, and so what we did was we I have a little braille machine that I used for some of the information, and then the rest of it we provided the books in PDF format. Then they put the jump drive into their computer, and she had a little refreshable braille machine, and so she was able to then do her assignments and take her tests and all that on that machine. The technology now is great. I have a computer in there in the other room where if a student needs their books on audio, I can get the MP3 file possibly or the PDF file, and then I would give them a jump drive with that on it. I also could give them a program to download on their computer that would read the book aloud, and it does all sorts of things. I also have some technology for students who maybe would be a paraplegic, something like that, who may not have use of their arms. There are things that we have that they can then voice command to get maybe write a paper or something through a computer. Also, let's see, I also have a large mouse that would be, if they didn't have much use of their arms, they could just kind of put their hand on it, and that would move the mouse that way. That is the main thing. I've also worked on a lot getting the campus accessible. We didn't have accessible restrooms that had the push button, so that we now have those, so that's good for the students in wheelchairs or who have mobility issues. So that's mainly what we do. Yeah, I'm very,
Mhm.
we're very creative. Anything else we can, you know, if we don't know, we ask Columbus. And one more thing I guess that I can think of, there's a lot now going on with service animals. And so that's been a big discussion lately, whether it's a service animal or a comfort animal. So there are students who have maybe service dogs. There are some places that they actually have the miniature ponies are, you know, service animals too. We haven't had that here or in Columbus yet. So, but that's a big issue because especially in the dorms, there are some students who have animals that are comfort animals. So then we have to determine, are those really, you know, is that really needed or is it just something they want? So we work with the Columbus office for the ADA office, Americans with Disabilities Act, and that then we help with that, discuss that so we can get legal advice on those kind of things.